Hello, welcome to another Tonalist landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy, and welcome as well to Past Master Series, Volume 2. This is day 33. I guess we're missing a couple because the last one you'll see is 31, but 31 and 32 are actually sitting on my kitchen counter. Um, and they have been for a long time because I meant to photograph them and I accidentally photographed this first and forgot about those guys. But I'll get them. I'll get them done. Don't worry. We've been pretty lax about the order in Volume 2 anyway. And I think I probably surprised you. You weren't expecting a Past Masters today. You were thinking, oh, it's been so long. Probably not going to see any more of those, but I have a few more. And when and if I get back into the Past Masters, I don't know. I actually have some boards laid out, but I'm very, very into this sort of figurative thing I'm doing right now. And I will probably share something on this channel. It'd be interesting to see what people think of it. Yeah. So Charles Harold Davis, I don't have a lot of information for you about Charles. He's one of those guys when you do a search, I mean, there might be something in the wiki. Yeah, sorry. I do know he's in several books I have. He's usually classed as what's an American Impressionist, which is a very interesting term since I don't think many American Impressionists would have called themselves American Impressionists. But back then this was probably done in 1880, 1890, people were getting pretty experimental with the painting and definitely embracing a looser approach. And yeah, I want to talk about that in a minute. But right now, I'd like to ask you to like this video, please. Just smash that like button. Support this channel. You know it's the right thing. You know it's the right thing to do, because if you come here with any regularity, I'm putting out the paintings for you. I'm showing you how it's done. Sort of. I mean, to be honest, you really have to figure things out on your own. But we talked about that. I won't belabor that point. Just go and like this video. Comment if you can find anything nice to say about it. And if you don't have anything nice to say, please keep your opinion to yourself. Same goes for the thumbs down. I don't need it. I don't want to hear it. Yeah. If you're a new subscriber, geez, and you like this, well, there's hundreds of videos on this channel for you to check out. Most of them are just me talking over a sped up painting session, and the purpose of this channel is mostly to share demonstrations of my paintings, because I like to share that. I like to videotape the sessions, and so they add up, they stack up, and so it's good, I feel, to share them. And I give you some narrative over the top. A lot of times I try and tie in. One thing I wanted to say about doing this study is I've done it before. You can find that on the channel if you just search for Charles Harold Davis's name. You'll find the original study. And it would have been back in the 100 Days of Tonalism, which is getting to be a while ago, like late 2014, I think. The challenge, especially, this is a much bigger version for me, and this also has it's a rectangular format. It's not a super rectangle, but it's definitely a rectangle. Whereas I'd done it in a square format before, and it was pretty successful little study. But the thing is it was much easier to keep things super loose at this smaller size. I think I'm not the only artist that finds that to be a bit of a challenge. As you scale things up, things often become much tighter because you can see things so much more clearly, for one. Anyway, there's probably a lot of other reasons, but suffice to say, it's always a challenge for artists as they scale work up, to keep it loose and fresh. At least it's a bit more of a challenge for me, but I do think I succeeded in keeping this painting fairly loose. Unfortunately, I think it was one of these ones that suffered from being painted a little dark originally, so I had to go in and do a third pass. And also there's a lot of subtle things that he pulled off. I can tell that he pulled them off in a hurry, and I'm sure he thought about them, but I wasn't able to pull them off in a hurry since I was making a study after his painting. The interesting thing is like it would almost be easier to make a study after a tighter painting because of all the things I just mentioned about keeping things loose. But all in all, I'm quite happy with the way the study turned out. And yeah, I'm going to pop it in my store if you want to snap it up. You want to support this artist, support this channel. You know, you might be telling yourself that you can't afford original art, but I guarantee that you would never regret the investment. That's all I have to say. I've sold lots of paintings over the years to lots of people. Never had anyone come back and say, "Whoa, I shouldn't have done that. That was a mistake." You know, the buying an extra video game or buying that extravagant dinner that you didn't need when you could have just came home and paid for your painting by eating a bunch of top ramen. All right. Oh, I'm getting a little doolally. It's all right. Sorry. Either way, if you're interested, go to my store. Check it out. It's nice. Moving on. Oh, today, by the way. Sorry, it's a bit late. I know my schedule's been fragmented, but I'm making the effort to get you 2 a week. You know, it just elongates a little the time. And I had to finish moving out of my studio yesterday, which was like my day off. But today is July 30th, 2019. And it's like 7 in the evening, and usually I do these a little earlier. I wanted to try and do this in the morning when I'm a little fresher, so you'll just have to bear with me. Thank you so much. So, let's talk a little bit more about what the heck old Chuck Davis is doing in his painting. What fascinates me is the purple-yellow thing in the clouds, for one. He's got these... Well, we're looking at my study. But, by the way, you can go to my blog. I'll have a copy of his original at the bottom of my post, so you can compare. Or you can put this, the name of this painting into Google search, image search. It'll come up. Yeah. It's actually, like, compositionally not the most fascinating painting. Mostly what's carrying the painting is the color. Now there is a pretty interesting composition to the clouds. It does work. It totally works. I mean, the proof is in that, you know, I'm sure he sold this painting. Well, he didn't sell my study of his painting, but I sold the study I made after his. I sold at least one of the studies. I have another one sitting in a box. Yeah. So it has a slight diagonal to it, and then we're going to get into, if you saw the little preview image at the beginning of the video, we're getting some pretty intense reds, and these were fun to put in. It was basically, you know, transparent earth red, but definitely bolstered with the perline red and backed up with just a bit of the permanent orange. The permanent orange will give you that slight bit of opacity just to kind of hold up underneath those other colors, because they're quite transparent. Both perline red and transparent earth red are very transparent, so I would add something like the permanent orange there just to get a slight amount of opacity without dulling the color. So that's the value of the permanent orange on the palette. It's very useful for that sort of things. It's very seldom that I'm using it straight up just as an orange, but I mean every now and again. But usually it's to add to greens or add to reds to kind of, I don't know, bolster things, reinforce things. It's semi-transparent, which I taken full advantage of. Yeah. So, and you got some, like, I don't know, little house in the distance there. I was interested in the way they, first of all, he's got aqua at the very bottom. So I'm going to have a sip of tea here because it sounds like my voice is going a bit. apologize for that. Also apologize, geez, if my nose is whistling or something. Gosh, that's the problem with this new microphone. It picks up every little sound. Which is one of the reasons why I do put the music on underneath the voice. That does hopefully help with things like that. Anyway, I guess that's about all I have to say about this painting. It was a bit of a challenge to keep the freshness. I was very interested with the, like you can see at the top, you get some yellows going over the blues. I did it with glazing. He could have done it direct. It doesn't look like his original is very belabored at all. In fact, a real challenge to keep it fresh, which I succeeded, but I probably had to put a lot more thought into it than he did. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know how big his original is. You know, he's one of these guys, you get a lot of sites with auctions and things like that. It might be something on Wikipedia. I don't know. Sorry I didn't look anything up, but again, also, if the narration is just tiring you out, you have records in your collection that you don't even listen to, so you could always put me on mute and listen to some rockin' tunes while you watch the painting happen. That's always an option. I would actually do that for you, but I'd have to pay YouTube to put anyone's rockin' tunes but my own, and trust me, you get tired of hearing, a bunch of music over and over and over. So this is our compromise solution. Since we've covered the painting in depth, hopefully to your satisfaction, using the palette at the beginning of the video, right? Robert Simmons Signet brushes are the brushes I like to use. Most of the colors are Gamblin. Some of them are, the Ivory Black would be from Winsor Newton. It's the Griffin series, the Quick Dry Black. And then a lot of my earth colors. Oh, you can see looks like we're in the final painting session. And you can see I'm painting with the lights off. This is one of my things I started doing before I left the old studio. Is like I realized that many of the paintings were coming out too dark because I had too much light on them while I was painting. And you'd think that would be a good thing, but I am painting this in a fairly dark studio, yeah, which actually is going to replicate pretty much the conditions of your 18th century painter. It's not like they had a bunch of big bright lights to put directly on things. They had gas lights and they had daylight. And I'd be willing to bet you most painters preferred painting during the day. I prefer painting during the day. I always have. Well, not always. I mean, I was a bit of a night owl when I was young, but I wasn't painting either. I was just drawing. Sidebar, yeah. So, what's going on in the studio? Like I said, I've been working on these figurative paintings. They're going really pretty well. They're all small. I actually ordered in some special frames for some of them. I have one out on the counter, and I probably could have sold it if I wanted to. I need to photograph it, so I'm not that anxious to sell it. But this beautiful Polynesian girl I painted is very appealing and will sell in a hurry. I know it will. Which is one of the reasons why I've decided to kind of move that direction for the market I'm in. Tonalism isn't, well, these paintings actually of these Polynesian girls are tonal. I'm starting with just a one tone, tones all playing off a burr number, and I won't be deviating too far from that. It's not like I'm doing it with naturalistic colors at all. So I'm painting them in a tonalist way. But they're not the sort of tonalism like you're getting here, and I've had some success with that, with that here in New Zealand, but not as much maybe as I would if I was in the east coast of the U.S. And so I'm trying out this other thing, basically because, for one, it's fun to do. It's fun to paint something a bit different. It's fun to actually apply my painting skills to the figure now after having so many years of just practicing drawing the figure, and then I was a freelance illustrator for years. I never even messed with the figure much, I didn't get paid to do humans very much. Then I just jumped into landscape painting, and it wasn't until last year I started doing some nudes figures. Anyway, I can say we're getting close to the end. Thank you for sticking around to hear me ramble. Hopefully you enjoyed watching this painting get done. Like I say, like the video if you could. Tip on over to the store. Check out that blog post. You'll see what his original looks like at the bottom. Tip on over to the store, and you'll see this painting is going to be priced pretty fair. So check it out. And until I see you again with another video, have a great day. Take good care and stay out of trouble.